Well, this had been billed beforehand as the most important speech by Donald Trump since he became president. And there had been expectations of tough words for both North Korea and Iran. But just quite how tough, no one could have foreseen. Donald Trump arriving at the UN to share his vision of the global order.
What's your message to North Korea?
The message is really a message of peace. It's a message of coming together.
But once on the podium, it certainly didn't sound like a message of peace, as the US president laid into the regime of Pyongyang and the leader he called Rocket Man.
No one has shown more contempt for other nations and for the well-being of their own people than the depraved regime in North Korea.
Watched by his Secretary of State and UN ambassador, both believed to have been instrumental in writing the speech, Trump threatened Pyongyang with dire consequences.
No nation on earth has an interest in seeing this band of criminals arm itself with nuclear weapons and missiles. The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea.
And there were equally harsh words for another of the US's adversaries.
The Iranian government masks a corrupt dictatorship behind the false guise of a democracy. It has turned a wealthy country with a rich history and culture into an economically depleted rogue state whose chief exports are violence, bloodshed, and chaos.
Finally, conscious of his promise to put America first, he warned his fellow world leaders that the US wasn't prepared to shoulder the international burden alone.
We can no longer be taken advantage of or enter into a one-sided deal where the United States gets nothing in return.
Well, it would be difficult for Donald Trump to persuade the United Nations to go along with him in this journey that he proposes to take against North Korea and Iran, or is certainly threatening to take. Certainly the United Nations won't be taking part in any military action as things stand. That will be something that America has to do alone. As for Iran, there is unhappiness that Donald Trump is almost punishing Iran for destabilizing the Middle East, not for breaking the nuclear deal. There is an agreement that really Iran has more or less complied with that nuclear deal, and there's a fear that the last thing you want to do when you're trying to persuade North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons is to renege on a deal you've made with another nation. That's not the sort of encouragement you want to give to Pyongyang. So a lot of unhappiness about Donald Trump's speech, though not in every quarter. For example, Israel has thoroughly welcomed what the president has had to say. Israel, of course, was an opponent of that nuclear deal from the start. But this speech will reverberate for quite some time.